Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to everybody. Welcome to Friday. Welcome to 3/4 of the way through February. If you are watching, do pop a hello in the comments so that I know that you're there, and stop saying Good morning, Helen. I have to stop myself from saying Good morning, Maria. Just settling Eric down. Good morning, Jay. But cutting it fine this morning, just putting some bread dough on. Pete was getting panicky. You got 2 minutes to go. Yeah, I know, but I'm needing the bread. Good morning, Kay. Good morning, Rachel. Good morning, Jane. Good morning, Jess. Good morning, Martina. Good morning, Xenia. Good morning, Ina. Good morning, Denise. Lots of lovely people all morning. Good morning, Christine. Yeah, TFI, it's Friday. It is indeed Friday. Are you going to settle down and go to sleep? Or are you going to go to pain? We'll see. Good morning, Diane. Good morning, Martina. Yeah, it is a fine rainy day here too, Diane. Not particularly bright and cheerful, but we are, so that's fine. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Susan. Wow, lots of lovely people. Lots. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Debbie. Good morning, Eva. Yep, we have got Pete and Eric here this morning. Bonjour, Aurélie. Bonjour. Right, Eric's hopefully going to go to sleep. Good morning, Tony. Good morning, Lani. You're going to go to sleep now? Yeah? We'll see. Good morning, Sylvie. Good morning, Vicky. Xenia, I love your t-shirt. Thank you. It's got wings too, look. T-shirt from the Children of Artemis website. So do go and have a look. They've got lots of t-shirts on there. Good morning, Vicky. Not forgetting Peter and Eric. Peter is sitting behind my screen working away. And Eric's going to go to sleep, aren't you? You're going to go to sleep? Have a little bit of a snooze? We'll see. Good morning, Tess. Good morning, Erin. Right. Now you settle down. That's a good boy. If anybody can't see, I actually have got a dog down here. Eric is down here, aren't you? You need a higher chair so that you can be on screen. Our total git, Dachshund, bless him. Good morning, Teresa. Well, here we are. And I thought to myself, what should I talk about this week? And then things happened like they do. Good morning, Susan. It was the new moon. And there is something that I do every single new moon. And I write myself an abundance check. And then I was writing an article about moon magic. And I was writing, sorry, I'm just adjusting the dog's blanket. Spoil all hot. And I was writing about the new moon and what I do on the new moon. And I thought, okay. And then I pulled a flower magic card. And it was abundance. I'm not really sure what the lady's doing on the side there, but looks like she's in a dressing gown. And of course, the flower for abundance is camellia. And it is that time of the year. All of the camellias local to me are in full flower now. It is one of the first flowers, other than little snowdrops, one of the first main garden flowers that comes into being at the beginning of the year. So I thought, that's it. Got to talk about abundance, obviously. Meant to be. Good morning, Caroline. Good morning, Chantel. What a beautiful day. Yes, yeah. It's a bit wet and miserable, but we're here. So that's important. Leslie says, lovely. Yes, we could all do with some abundance. But, it's not just money. It's not just about the money. Good morning, Jessie. Maria's had Dahlia, that's posh. Dahlia twice this week. Pete's favourite flower, actually. Then you need to listen to the message, Maria. Good morning, Beck. So yes, today is all about abundance. It's an interesting word, actually, because it comes in many, many forms. I suspect we'll jump to that first. It's to do with money, it's to do with prosperity. But you can have abundance of lots of different things in your life. It can be abundance of love, abundance of friendships, abundance of romance, abundance of luck, abundance of happiness, abundance of good health, even an abundance of pets. Yeah, you might have lots of pets. An abundance of chocolate is always a good thing to have. So it's a word that kind of covers a lot of stuff. I think we immediately jump to the money thing, but you can have an abundance of all sorts of things, and you can use abundance and the energy of abundance to bring more of anything into your life. Jane's current abundance is socks. Are you still knitting the socks, Jane? You need to find somewhere to donate them. I am in awe that you can actually knit socks, to be honest. Sue says it's 2 shades of grey and green in Somerset. Yeah, it's pretty much the same here, Sue. Pretty much the same here. Christine has an abundance of dust. Yes, but as we discussed last week, you can work magic with dust. And trust me, you sparked a whole project on that. So watch this space. And it's all your fault. Tony, don't have a cat, nearly sat on mine. Oh, you don't sit on pets. That's not good. So thinking about the word abundance, you can use it in your magic to manifest an abundance of anything. You know, could be happiness, could be friends, could be anything really. Doesn't necessarily have to be money, although, you know, that's always useful. There is a thought that witches shouldn't work magic to benefit themselves. Teresa has an abundance of rain in Wales. Yeah, it's not raining yet, but I think it will be. Good morning, Terry. Jane, my sister put a spell on me and now I have to knit socks night and day. How can I escape from this woolly curse? Use your knitting needle and poke your sister, I reckon. Good morning, Eve. Maria, make a blanket. Yeah, knit your socks together and make a blanket. Actually, if you could make a huge sock, you could make a sleeping bag. Okay, now we need to get away from socks. But yes, there is a thought that witches shouldn't work magic to benefit themselves. Tess, yes, personal gain not allowed. It's an interesting concept. And one that is probably very highly debated, and I'm sure you guys all have your own personal thoughts on it. However, in as much as I think you probably shouldn't be sitting around every day working magic to manifest fast cars, free-flowing booze, and fancy women for yourself. I can hear a sigh going, probably not, the most moral thing to do. However, I do think it makes sense and is perfectly acceptable to work a little abundance magic to make sure that you've got money coming in to enable you to pay the mortgage, to put food on the table, and even have a little bit left over to make life just a little bit more comfortable. Jane says she'd need a long knitting needle. Post it, Jane. Maria has the abundance of Luna scratching and crying at my door. Luna's Maria's cat, just in case you wondered. It is an interesting concept, and it is, I think there are different sides to it. As I say, perhaps not just spend your entire time working magic to get yourself fancy stuff, but I do think as witches, as magic practitioners, we have every right to make our lives as comfortable as we can. If I didn't have money coming in to pay the mortgage, to put food on the table, then I wouldn't be able to do what I do. it's, you got to look after yourselves a little bit, I believe. So I don't see any problem at all in working a bit of magic to make yourself able to live, really. Particularly, I think, if you have an unexpected bill come in, then you've got the magical skills to bring some money in. And I'm not saying let's work magic the whole time to make us win the lottery. It would be nice, obviously. But I'm talking about everyday stuff. I'm talking about being able to live. Teresa says, put on your own life jacket first. Easier to help others when you already have everything you need yourself. Yes, I totally agree with you, Teresa. I totally agree with you. Just to make your own life comfortable and workable so that you are in a position to support other people. Jane says it's okay to ask for comforts because more often than not, we share them with family and friends anyway. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm not the only person in my household. We are a family, so it is about keeping everybody under the roof safe, really. Lani says it's about finding the right balance. Yes, absolutely. I'm sure I could work magic for manifesting fast cars, free-flowing booze, and fancy women. I'm not yet. No, you can't have one. I doubt it would work because I think the universe has other plans. And I think whatever magic you work, the universe likes to step in anyway. However, yeah, I think it's perfectly acceptable to work a bit of magic to make your life livable, basically. I work hard. My husband works hard. I think we deserve at least not to have to worry about paying the gas bill at the end of each month. So it's about manifesting money that you can earn, or ways that you can earn money. For me, it's not about winning the lottery. Again, be nice. Yeah. But it is about security, job security, keeping the money coming in on a regular basis, but working for it. It's about opening up opportunities so that I can earn money to bring in. I'm not expecting the universe to just provide for me without me actually doing anything. So, it is. Diane says you can't look after others properly if you don't take care of yourself. Yeah, absolutely. And the same goes for healing. If you're not healed yourself, then you're not going to be able to heal others. I think it's the same sort of thing. Jane says, be careful what you ask for. What would you do with a bunch of fancy women? Make them do the housework, Jane. That's what I'd do with them. Put them to work. Good morning, Susie. I'm going to get shot down for that, I know, for stereotypes, but hey ho. Tess, but would it not come at a price? To win the lottery, for example, would have consequence. To ask for such a big ask, but yes, small ask acceptable. Every single magic that you do has consequences. It doesn't matter whether you are doing a small spell to heal or a big spell to win the lottery. Every magic that you do is manipulating energy, and it all has consequences. There is always a price to pay, sometimes small as in offerings, sometimes big as in it's checks and balances. So every single piece of magic that you work, it is all about checks and balances. Good morning, Petronella. Christine says, Pete, trust me, fancy women can be self-centered. Yeah, Christine says you got to stick with me. Christine, seriously, I'm high maintenance. I really am high maintenance. But, he's put up with me for 29 years, so I must be all right. Good morning, Trudy. Tony says, I don't think winning the lottery magic works because it's probability. Yeah, I mean, it is such a shot in the dark, basically, isn't it? And, of course, you've got to do the lottery to actually be for a chance to win it. Michelle, housework. Yeah, if we have a little army of people to do the housework, that would be lovely. No, really, it's not realistic. No, winning the lottery is such. Yeah, I'm using that as a outside example. Jane says it doesn't matter how much you ask for. The universe will only let you what you have for you need. Oh dear, the universe will only let you have what you need for yourself and for sharing. Yeah, I think that again with any magic, you can ask for whatever you think you want, but it's not always what you need, and I think the universe will always step in. Maria needs a cleaning, cooking fairy. Yeah, I could do with several of those, Maria. Teresa says, if I get the job, someone else doesn't. That's the same whether I use magic to get there or not. Absolutely. I always use the job as an example, actually. If you are going for an interview for a new job and you work some magic so that you get the job, A, you've actually got to turn up for the job interview anyway. B, you've got to knock their socks off. So you've got to put some work into it as well. You have got to be the best that you can in the interview. And C, if the magic works to help you get the job, someone else, some other people will lose out. So your magic has harmed others. Everything has that checks and balances. It all has some kind of effect. Definitely. Tony doesn't do it. I'm assuming you mean housework. Teresa says the fairies do the housework here, apparently. Yeah, good fairies. I hope you pay them well. Lots of honey and milk. Denise knows a couple of people who won a large amount on the lottery, and though it has changed their lives, they admit to being very unhappy. I have seen that, people that win lots and lots of money, because it does change, I think, not perhaps their lives. Well, obviously it does, but I think it probably changes how other people, friends and family perceive them. Don't know. Christine did a spell once with a lottery ticket. I did it on the fireplace and the ticket fell down the back of the mantelpiece. So I don't know if I won or not. Yeah, that was the universe interfering there, Christine. Good morning, Sue. You don't have to apologise for being late. I'm not doing a register or anything. Damon, hello, Damon. Nothing more valuable than health. Yeah, absolutely. Jane says growl will save you. You lot are mad. Xenia, as for getting a job and someone else wouldn't get it, it would be the same if you get the job without doing magic. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Every step in life we do, also without magic, has consequences. Absolutely. Everything, every decision you make, it's the whole different trouser legs of reality, to use a Terry Pratchett term. Every decision you make, there are different realities, aren't there? Different alternatives. Yeah, absolutely. Tony says, I mean the lottery. I don't feel like doing the housework. Yeah. I think both are pretty pointless. So back to abundance, because, I do like to wander off topic. So, yeah, Tess, the other problem with money, it gets spent and runs out like water. Yeah, absolutely. Do you know, when I work my abundance spell, I actually work into it financial stability and financial wisdom to actually be able to work your finances and to balance things out, and to really kind of work it so that you don't just, it comes in, it goes out, comes in, comes out, It's got to be balance, hasn't it, in all things? But yeah, I work hard, so I think I deserve at least to not have to worry about being able to pay for food. So I do work a bit of magic every month. I think you should ask for enough to cover what you need, but I also think you deserve to ask for a little bit extra for comfort. Not being totally greedy, not asking for hundreds of thousands of pounds, just enough to cover all the bills and a little bit for, my caramel latte and my Indian takeaway would be nice. Postman? That'd be the postman. So I think ultimately the universe is in charge anyway, and it always knows best. You might not like what it does when it first interferes, and experience has taught me that it will, but go with it. But you can work for some of that abundance. As I say, it doesn't have to be money either. You can work for abundance of good health and abundance of happiness and anything you want to, really. However, what I do is every new moon, I write an abundance check. And I've talked about this before, but what I've actually got now, I asked Pete very kindly to do his graphic magic, and he has created a check, Universal Bank of Abundance check. You can download them from the internet. Just type abundance check into Google and you get loads of them. And that's what I've been using, one from that. But I thought it would be nice to have one that he's designed for me. So it will go up on my personal blog for you to download after today. Sue says, I've never wanted to be rich, but stinking rich would be just fine. You wouldn't like it, Sue. You wouldn't like it. John, hi John. Been experimenting with my football team, Luton Town, and I agree everything comes at a price. Maybe I'm that good and kept Luton up last year, but there was still a price. We got thrashed 5-0 by Reading in the nervous run-in. We haven't got an abundance of points. Still need to do a bit more magic this season. Yeah, it will. You know, I think that's you're dealing with a whole big thing there, aren't you? With the whole football team, lots and lots of variables there. Xenia, love the idea of the abundance check. So I'll talk you through what I do. So every new moon, and I always do it on the new moon. Tony, what do you do with the check afterwards? Okay, I'll talk you through how I do it. So new moon. So I write here the date, and I usually write today, literally the word today in where the date is. And then when it says pay to the order of, I write my name. And then in the account, I write the universe, and then I sign it. And then I fold it, and I fold it inwards. You want to fold the paper towards you to bring things to you. Sorry, dog needs his blanket. Yeah. So you fold the paper towards you to bring things to you. And then I put it on my altar. And that's every new moon I do that. I charge it with energy, obviously. Sometimes I say a few words, you know, abundance and money-wise ability and things like that. I charge it with energy and I put it on my altar. The check that I wrote the month before, I burn. I burn that check with the intent of removing the debts from the last month. So I burn that one and then I replace it with a new one. You can add to it. I quite often sprinkle herbs and spices inside the paper as I fold it up. I've dabbed it with essential oil before now, and quite often I will put some crystals on top of it as well. And I'll talk you through all of the abundance correspondences in just a second. So Tony, yeah, at the end, the check from the last month I burn with the intent of removing debts and then replace it with a new one. Maria, I found these. I have these, but I found when I ask for other things rather than financial abundance, it works better. Yeah, I mean, although it's a check, you don't have to. You don't have to ask for money. I mean, I usually put paid in full. I write paid in full on it because there's no figure then. That's the universe just giving me what I need and what I can use. But it doesn't have to be money. It can just be happiness or love or friendship or something like that. Sue, I might like this. Could I try it out for 6 months? You can try it out for however long you want, Sue. Sylvie forgot the abundance check this month. That's no problem. Just do it the next one. I do it monthly, but you could do it to cover 6 months or a year if you wanted to. It's just a routine I got into, I think. Christine, I was once told that I would never have a lot of money, but would always be comfortable in life. This was about 25 years ago, and it's been true so far. I've met so many people, lots of money, and not happy. I live within my means, and if I can't buy, I make. It is an absolutely brilliant concept to be in, Christine. Yep, absolutely. Susie, do you put an amount? Yes, I've just noticed actually this hasn't got, it needs a bit for an amount. So I put paid in full on there. I'll get that added before I put it up on the blog. So yeah, paid in full. But you can write an amount if there's a specific amount you need for an unexpected bill that's come in. I say it doesn't have to be monetary. You could just put happiness or love or friendship, something like that. Hi, Caroline. There was a time in our lives when we had lots of money, big house, flashy cars, the most miserable time of our lives. We lost everything financially a few years back and much happier now. It is very true, isn't it, that money doesn't buy you happiness. Absolutely, absolutely. Jess, I put a money oil blend I made on mine and have been burning them at the full moon. Okay, if that's what you feel you need to do, Jess, then do it. You have to be trusted by your intuition on this. You absolutely have to be guided by what you feel you need to do with it. Karen washed her door with mint and water every new moon to encourage prosperity into the home. Mint is brilliant. Mint is absolutely brilliant for prosperity. Jane said there might be a long contract and a penalty clause. Debbie's going to do this. I'm going to put it all up on the blog after today, Debbie, but it's in a couple of my books anyway, if you've got them. But John, I was told the same thing whilst doing a job for a lady who read my tea leaves when I gave my cutback after a brew. Never lived above poverty, but I've always been comfortable somehow. I think, we can work magic to make our lives a little bit comfortable, but let's face it, most of us aren't going to live in mansions with flashy cars, and I'm not sure I'd want to anyway, but Jane, when people pounce and ask me if I want a credit card, I say no. If I can't afford something, I can't have it, and probably didn't need it anyway. A very, very wise outlook. Very wise. Tony, I go enough until my pension, so I have enough money now. But that's it, isn't it? We need enough money to live on and a little bit to be, we got to have little treats every now and again. So I think it's about not being greedy and asking for enough, really, to make life a bit more comfortable. But there are things you can add to it. So I add bits and pieces. I add herbs and I add crystals to the spell. You can do it in the form of herbs wrapped up in the paper. You can do it in the form of essential oil dabbed onto it. And you can do it with the form of placing crystals on it afterwards. Now, I have got my show and tell of crystals because, crystals are pretty. Go with what works for you. If you don't have any crystals, you could use a pebble because pebbles relate really strongly with the element of earth, and the element of earth is all about material things, stability, finances, so that would charge it absolutely brilliantly. But if you've got pretties, then moss agate is a very good one. I think any of the green stones are. Green aventurine is very good for money as well. But if you're looking at abundance, let's remember that covers a whole lot of other things. So these stones are specifically for abundance rather than just money. So moss agate is very good. What's the next one? We've got amber. I have a tiny piece of amber, literally a tiny piece of amber, teeny tiny piece of amber. That's really good for abundance. I've got a really big piece. I've got a piece of orange calcite here, and I thought, we've got a bigger piece of that somewhere. Look at this piece. Now, if you want a big amount of abundance energy, it's quite heavy. I have to admit, to me, it looks like a piece of raw salmon, but so it's not. It's quite bizarre, but it is a lovely, lovely piece of crystal. Maria, could you use tree agate? Yeah, I think tree agate and moss agate, they have very, very similar properties. So absolutely. Becky, astrologically, if your Neptune is in your second house, you'd be particularly good at attracting and manifesting money. Yeah, I don't think I'm that. I don't think I'm that at all. Jane, looking at those rich house, poor house programs on TV, haven't seen them. I realised we are in the bottom 10%, but I'm comfortable and I feel rich. People must have different ideas in rich and poor. I actually think they do, Jane. I think you can be abundant in love and friendship and good things, not necessarily abundant with cash in the bank. What's more important? Now, there's the question. Maria, yes, that was orange calcite. Huge piece, yeah. Smoked salmon trees, yes. Smoked salmon, that one. But that's really good for abundance. Carnelian is another one. I've got quite a light piece here. Carnelian, very good for abundance. Citrine is another one for abundance. And garnet, I have a very small piece here. I like garnet, it's a nice stone. That's very good for abundance. Goldstone, one of my favourites. I think this one particularly for abundance, probably because it's shiny. I think it's really good for attracting things, for drawing things to you, goldstone. So that's very good for abundance as well. Kyanite, this one is really pretty, really, really pretty. I haven't worked with that one much. I think I need to work with that one a bit more to connect with it. It's a fairly new one for me to work with. Labradorite, again, you can see I've got my label on the bottom, lab, that says. Labradorite, very good for abundance. Lapis lazuli, and I think this one for me is very good for abundance because it's got those runs of sparkle in it. So it's good for attracting things. Malachite, very good. I think this one, particularly if you're talking about abundance for money, is very good. Moonstone, another one that looks like a piece of cold fish. And I think moonstone, particularly if you're working your magic in a specific moon phase, new moon, waxing moon, very good for bringing abundance to you. Moonstone is a very good one to work with. Pyrite, and again, I think this one is particularly good. It's sparkly. So that's really good for drawing, for manifesting, bringing abundance to you. Smoky quartz, not one I particularly use for abundance, but it is quite good. Sunstone, got a little piece here of sunstone. Sun, because I think the solar energy is really, really good for abundance. Solar magic is, and the sun's energy, really, really good for manifesting things and bringing things towards you. Tiger's eye, really, really good for abundance. One of my go-to stones, actually, for abundance. And the last one is turquoise. All really, really good stones for bringing abundance of all kinds to you. Maria loves citrine. Yeah, it is a really, really good stone to work with. Christine, fool's gold. Yes, pyrite is fool's gold. That's one of the common names for it. Jane feels sort of cozy with garnet. It's a nice stone. It is a nice stone. Michelle, citrine, carnelian, moss agate, some of my favourites. They are all good to work with. The blue one, blue kyanite is really, really pretty. I will work with that one some more, Maria. It's and malachite. Yeah, I love malachite too. So pretty with all the green stripes in it. Michelle keeps blue kyanite with my oracle cards to attract good vibes. Brilliant. Excellent, excellent. Sue, isn't goldstone synthetic? Yes, it is. Would this affect the use of crystal? No. Goldstone, and you can also get blue goldstone, which I've got as well. I'm just trying to think what else is. Opalite is also man-made. They are man-made, but I think they work just as well as the others. I think goldstone was made by accident at some point. They are man-made, but I work just as well with goldstone as I do with any of the other natural crystals. Jane, smoky quartz is useful for filtering out negative energies. Yes, it is. It's really, really good for working with negative energies. Teresa, it's in the intent. If you think it will help, it will. If you think it will hinder, it will. Yes, that's a big part of it. You've got to have the will and the intent. If your will and intent isn't strong enough, then no amount, even this piece, wouldn't help. You've got to have that will and intent. It's got to be positive, and I think it's got to be for the right reasons as well. So that's got to be strong enough. Maria, I have blue goldstone, which is good for protection when traveling. Perfect. Yeah, brilliant. I've got a blue goldstone pendant. Very, very pretty. Lani, I think you can get green goldstone as well. Oh, I haven't seen that one. I've always loved goldstone. It's one of my favourite ones. But you can add those crystals to your spell work to bring in abundance. Maria needs one in her life. Yeah. Crystals, you can never have just one crystal, can you? But there's also all sorts of herbs and plants that you can add to your abundance spells. Bergamot's very good. Buttercup's very good. I think that brings in the solar energy. Camellia. Camellia is my go-to for abundance. It is my go-to plant for abundance. And the flowers fall off the tree whole, and you can just dry them whole. Just lay them out on sheets of paper and they dry. Cloves, really good as well. Cornflower, or bachelor's buttons for those in America. Cumin's really good. Dandelion, and again, I think you bring the sun, the solar energy in with dandelion. Echinacea, frankincense, good old grass. Just the humble blade of grass is really good for working in abundance magic. Heliotrope, horseradish is really good. Hyacinth, ivy's good, and I think ivy, because of the way that it grows, it can bind, it can keep things together, it can bring things in for you. Orchids, probably because they're expensive. Pine is another really good one. Pine needles, really, really good in prosperity and abundance spells. Good old rose petals, always really, really good in abundance magic. Particularly that one, I think, if you want to bring in abundance of a more emotional type, love, friendship, happiness, that kind of thing. Sage is really good, and St. John's wort is really good. So they're all really good herbs, plants, and flowers. Get them in the dried form, sprinkle them onto your abundance spell, or just, get the flowers, a fresh piece, and place that on your altar as well. That will help bring in the abundance energy. Diane uses pine needles. Yeah, they are really good for prosperity. Tess, is this abundance spell something you could do when starting a new career to ask for success and abundance of work, or is that too vague? No, I think absolutely, Tess, you could. Absolutely. And I would do it on a new moon, because you're bringing stuff to you and you're building it. So the energy is going to grow. Absolutely. Maria, citrine would be good for that also. Any Yellowstone. Yeah, citrine, I work with that a lot for abundance. And happiness as well. If you're wanting an abundance of happiness, then citrine would be brilliant for that. Jane rescued a small pot of ivy that someone threw out. Now our mature sycamore tree is swathed in it. Brilliant. Yeah, Mother Nature's clever. Tess, I have ivy growing up the side of my house, but never have any money. But, we're back to abundance, aren't we? And it's not just money. Perhaps you have an abundance of other things. If the ivy's growing up the side of your house, do you have an abundance of stability or a happy home or strength, good family, abundance of family connections? It's all different forms. There's also some foods you can work with for abundance, and you can use these in your spell work, or you can eat them. So almonds, really good. Apple, excellent for abundance. Aubergine, not my I eat pretty much everything, but aubergine is not my favorite vegetable. I will not be having an abundance of aubergines. Bananas are really good for abundance. Basil is probably one of my go-to herbs for prosperity, abundance. Basil and mint, both really, really good for money, abundance. Beans are really good as well. Dried beans, particularly in spell work, because, putting a spoonful of baked beans on your spell is going to get a little bit messy. But I use dried beans a lot in prosperity magic, because I think they're really good for that kind of energy. Blackberries, very good. Again, I probably wouldn't use the fresh fruit unless you're actually eating it, but use blackberry leaves in your spells for abundance. That works really well. Brazil nuts, cashew nuts, in fact, most of the nuts, they've all got that abundance, prosperity type of energy to them. Cabbage, funny enough, is very good for abundance. Chamomile is also very good. You can use a chamomile tea bag, split it open and use the dried chamomile bits and pieces inside with your spell works. Chicken is very good for abundance. And you're going to like this one. Chocolate is excellent for abundance. Who knew eating your chocolate cake was going to bring you all that abundance? Cloves, coriander, corn. Corn is really good. And for me, it's the colour of the yellow, golden, sun positive colour of corn, and the fact that there are so many little corn kernels on the corn cob. It just shouts abundance. Elderflower is another one. Fish is also a really good one for abundance. If you want to bring in the energy of fish, it's quite an ancient symbol for prosperity. You can just draw a little fish shape on your abundance check or on whatever spell you're working, carve it into the candle, whatever you want to do. Good morning, Alex. Maria, you did a fruit salad abundance spell once. I do, I remember that. That was in one of the Fate and Fortune magazines, because there's a lot of fruit that brings prosperity magic. Leslie visualizes abundance when stirring her porridge. Excellent. I think oats are also on my list. Oats are really good for abundance. And again, because I think there's so many of them, there's lots of them, you need a lot of them together to make a bowl of porridge. So it brings in the abundance. Eva, fresh blackberries work very well mashed into salt dough for charms. Gorgeous colour, absolutely. And fresh blackberries squashed up the juice makes a very good substitute for blood if you want to use that in any of your magic workings. Jane says chocolate brings an abundance of inches. Yeah, I hear you. Maria says cabbage brings an abundance of wind. Maybe that's the connection, Maria. Maybe that's the connection. Christine says chocolate for an abundance of waistline. Again, maybe that's the connection. John is going to look at his allotment in a very different way. Every single item of food has magical properties. We work so much with the magical herbs and the magical plants. I think sometimes we forget that food all has magical connections as well. Michelle says loaves and fishes. Yeah, there's an interesting connection. Fish, very, very good for prosperity and abundance. Ginger is really good. And ginger, I think, because it's such a fiery spice and it boosts the power, it boosts the energy. If you want to give your spell working a bit of an energy kick, you can add a bit of ginger to it to give it a boost. Anything that's hot and spicy like that, mustard, ginger, chilies, it'll give your spell working a bit of an energy boost. Honey's really good, and for honey I use quite a lot in abundance spells because it makes life sweet. It's all about connections. It's all about thinking what that item is and how it connects and what energy it brings in. Jasmine's really good for abundance spells. Kumquats are really good as well, apparently. Everyone has their own ideas. Macadamia nuts, we've got nuts again. Peanuts are really, really good for abundance. And don't discount peanut butter. Peanut butter is excellent to work with in abundance spells. It's got a real strong masculine energy to it as well, so it'll give a real power kick to your spell work. Maple syrup is another one. It's sweet, it's sticky, so it's going to bring that bringing things together abundance kind of magic. And nutmeg's another good one. You can use a whole nutmeg on its own as an abundance and prosperity charm. Charge it with the energy and carry it with you, and it's a little spell all together in a little nut, basically. Pears are very good as well. Pecans, most nuts. Pineapple is really good for abundance. One of my go-to is poppy seeds, and again I think it's because there's so many of them. You get a poppy seed head, hundreds of little poppy seeds all in one tiny little poppy seed head, so it's abundance and it brings that magic with it. Pork is another one that is abundance. Potatoes, pumpkin, again, another one really good for abundance. And rice is another go-to to me for prosperity because it's got that fertility energy, it's got that new beginnings, it's got that growth kind of energy to it, and because the grains are tiny and there are so many of them in a small space. So rice is really good. Sesame seeds, the same. They are tiny, so you get a lot of them in your hand. So it's abundance. It's an abundance of them. Soya is also really good for abundance. Sunflower seeds, and I think seeds bring that fertility. But sunflower, you've got the magic of the sun again. You've got that big, powerful, masculine sun, solar energy with it. Good old cup of tea, just your normal black tea leaves, really, really good for abundance. And wheat. And I think the wheat kind of connection comes from harvest and reaping what you've sown and all that kind of thing. Tony's just put a blackcurrant bush in his garden. Excellent. Eva, speaking of connections, I'm noticing the connection between these talks and me having an overwhelming need to bake chocolate things on Friday afternoons. I don't know why, Eva. How strange. Sylvie says cinnamon. Cinnamon I use for success. Really, really good for success and love. Not specifically for abundance, but you could add cinnamon in to bring a boost of success to your spell work. It's one of my favorite ones to use, Sylvie. But if you're drawn to use it, go for it. I'm just giving you the list of things that I use connected with abundance. If you want to use something else, go for it. Trust your intuition, absolutely. Jane, when it gets going enough to prune, put all the prunings in pots. They root so easily. You'll have an abundance of bushes. I'm assuming you're talking about the blackcurrant bush there, Jane. Brilliant. Thank you for that. Jane, poppy seeds can stay viable for up to 80 years. You only have to disturb the soil a bit and they'll grow in abundance. Well, there you go. Another abundance connection to it. Petronella says, quinoa. That's bizarre stuff, isn't it? Quinoa. I've worked with, I don't like it. I've cooked it and I've eaten it and it's not one of my favorites, I must admit. I have worked with quinoa flour, which makes very nice cookies. Magically, you would have to go with what connections you associate it with. I would associate it probably with wheat. So yes, for abundance, I would say so. Yeah, definitely. Maria's got some poppies to plant. They are lovely. I love poppy. I love poppies in the garden. Tony uses cinnamon bark for putting in drinks. Yeah, really, really nice in hot milk and really nice in teas. But cinnamon is my go-to for anything to do with success. Success magic is my thing for cinnamon. Jane says quinoa rainbow salad is nice. I would eat it, Jane. With all the other stuff, it's nice on its own. Very good to use in which bottles, actually? Quinoa, dried quinoa, not before you cook it. Sue says, quinoa is like a load of frog snot. Yeah, I'm actually with you there, Sue. I am with you there. But I used dried quinoa because I bought a bag and I cooked some and I didn't like it. So I used the dried stuff in spell work. Works really, really well in witch bottles because it soaks up the negative energy. Petronella, I have quinoa in the house. Nobody likes it, so I can use it in spells. Yeah. Yes, use the dried quinoa in any spells that you want for soaking up negative energy. But with anything, it's got to be your correspondence. I use cinnamon for success. You might look at it and think, oh, that doesn't mean success to me. I want to use that for something else. Trust your intuition. Take the item, take the ingredient and make a connection with it and see what it tells you to use. And if your quinoa says I'm frog snot, then you could use it for the connection of frog. Frog is an amazing animal spirit guide to use. Maybe it's a frog connection. Who knows? Diane likes quinoa. I'm not, I would eat it, Diane. And quinoa salad with all sorts of other things in it is quite nice. I like food, really. Let's face it. So it's got to be your own personal connection. It's got to be what you think it's going to do for you. And if you work with colour magic, and I did talk about colour magic a couple of weeks ago, I work with colour magic all the time. And for me, colours for abundance are green and orange. Orange more leaning towards success, but I think it helps to have a bit of that energy in your abundance spell. Green is money, it's prosperity, but it's also abundance. But again, work with the colour that works for you. And if you don't have any colours, go with white. White is a good universal cover-all kind of colour. Erin, I didn't know you had to rinse it first, so it was always bitter. Washing it can make it tastier. It's like rice, isn't it? It's one of those grains that I think it does benefit from being rinsed first. If you can get past the fact that it is frog snot. I'm never, ever going to look at quinoa in the same way again. Xenia, there's even a Chinese abundance frog figure sitting on coins. Well, there you go. Yes, I have seen that. I love working with frog. Frog for me is creativity. My drum spirit guide is the frog. So it is very, very creative energy. Yeah, brilliant. So if you want to work with the energy of frog, work with quinoa. There you go, sorted. Frog snot. Yeah, okay, not going to get past that. So it's got to be your connections. It's got to be your connections. It's got to be what you think is the best thing to work with. But do remember, abundance covers all kinds of things. It is not just money. It's an abundance of all things. Friendship, love, anything like that. It covers such a huge subject. But I will put a copy of the check up on my blog later today so that you can download it and print it off for yourself. You can do it once a month on the new moon if that's what you feel drawn to. You could do it once a month on the full moon if that's what you feel drawn to. Christine, I have a jade frog. It's horrible looking, but I love it. Yes, I have seen quite a few jade frogs, and jade, of course, is green. Jade's really good for abundance as well. Perfect. Use him in some of your abundance magic, Christine. So I will put the check up on my blog so you can download it and use it. But, it's up to you. I do it each month as it's kind of a ritual to me now to do it every new moon, and I add in whatever herbs and spices that I feel drawn to. I don't use the same ones each month. The old ones I throw out. You can throw them on the compost heap, on the garden. They're all biodegradable. If there's seeds in there, they may well grow. So all of the old herbs and spices get put on the compost heap or thrown out back onto the earth. I sometimes dab it with essential oil. It's usually mint, but I'll do whatever I'm drawn to, and the check from the previous month gets burnt. So be guided by your intuition. If you feel you need to work on the full moon, do so. If you need to feel it's right to do it on the new moon, do so. If you've got a big bill coming and you need instant money, then go with it. If you're working on the waxing moon or the full moon, then you can bring the money to you. You can ask for the manifesting the abundance to come to you. If it happens to be a waning moon, then I would suggest that you word it so that it helps dispel your debt. And that way you're working with the phase of the moon and wording it so that you've got a little bit of added energy in there. Diane burns the herbs with a check. Yes, some of mine get burnt in there as well, Diane, but I've usually got quite a big heap of them on there. If you folded the herbs up inside the check, then you can just chuck the whole bundle into the flame and burn the whole lot. Jane said, I told someone I have 10 small lottery wins a year. She was impressed till I told her I achieved that by not buying the tickets. Yes, if you buy lottery tickets and add up how much you've actually spent and how much you lost, how much you've won, you've lost quite a lot. But, got to be in it to win it as well, really. So that's a personal choice that you guys need to make. It's up to you whether you do it or not. I tend to do lottery tickets for the ones where the money goes specifically to charity. But again, got to be your choice. So this will go up on the blog later today. Think about abundance to make your life more comfortable. Think about abundance to make other people's lives more comfortable. But it's all about abundance of all kinds. It's not just the money. It's got to be abundance of everything, really. And you deserve it. Don't ever think that you don't deserve it. Don't ever think you can't work money spells because, it's not asking for stuff for yourself. You've got to be comfortable yourself and in the right place yourself to be able to help other people and pass it forward. You can't pay it forward if you can't afford it yourself. So, balance it up, but know that you also deserve not to be miserable and not to be unhappy and not to be, bring that abundance into your life in all forms: happiness, friendships, love, the whole kit and caboodle. Just let's not be greedy. So that's kind of it for today on abundance, unless anyone's got any more questions. We have... Yes, Diane, we are just as worthy as the next person. Absolutely. Don't do yourselves any injustice. You are all as worthy as the next person. And we all deserve a roof over our head and food on the table, shoes on our feet. Probably not diamond shoes because, they'd probably be a bit uncomfortable, actually. And probably not, living with fresh salmon and caviar on your dining table. Don't like caviar anyway, so but it's about making your life kind socks. We should all have an abundance of socks, Jane. Definitely all have an abundance of socks. But it is about making your life more comfortable. And if you are comfortable and if you're in a position where you can pay your bills, then life is good. And it also gives you that stability to be able to pay it forward and help other people. So, work it how you feel you want to work it, and just remember that abundance is all kinds of things, not just money. Tess would like to send some of my sample handmade soaps for review. How do I do this? I don't accept anything free, Tess. Thank you for the offer. I don't accept anything free. If I do reviews, but I always pay for them because I think it's only fair. If you message me a link to your website or your Etsy shop or your Facebook shop, then I will purchase some from you and try them out. More than happy to do that. Tony gave up fish. I don't eat a lot of fish. But it's got to be what you choose to do. It's personal choice. Always got to be personal choice. Xenia finds salmon caviar is good. No, caviar is just a mouthful of salt. It's not. No, it makes it sound like I don't like lots of things. I eat pretty much anything and everything. There's just the odd thing that I don't like. But abundance has got to be how you perceive it, and just don't forget that it's not all about the money. You can have an abundance of all sorts of things. Tony is vegan and proud of it. Good for you, Tony. But everyone has a personal choice. Everyone has a personal choice and has to be for their own reasons. But yes, abundance is all things, not just money. Just do remember that it covers all sorts of things. We have, what have we got? For students, Gypsy's doing her Reiki in the student Facebook group on Sunday. 28th is the Waffling Witches, where we're going to be talking about magical ways to deal with the menopause. That's over on the Kitchen Witch Facebook group. The links are coming up magically in the comments. Christine, wishing abundance for all. I do. I wish you all abundance of all things. Karen has an abundance of Friday feel good. Mwah. Thank you all. An abundance of good information. Yeah, it's a give and take. Yeah, I learn from you guys. I do learn from you guys. It's all about sharing as well. It's about sharing the information. So anyone is around, there's a link on my page and on the Kitchen Witch page for this evening. The spring, part of the Sprig and Mist guys, the Sillers, Max and Baz and their son Aaron, are doing a free music gig tonight. I think it's 8:00 on their YouTube channel, but links on my page. So if you're free at 8:00 this evening, do join them. Fantastic people with a kind of magical rock music this evening if you're free. If you want me to talk about anything in particular in the coming Fridays, do let me know, and I will do my best to cover it. Erin, very, very best of luck for your job interview. Very, very best of luck. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Abundance of all kinds to you for everything, in everything. And do remember that you really, really are all worth it. So take care, everybody, and I shall see you next time.